Now for global business updates, Rotus Odiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Basi. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Rufaya. You know, I love how the two of your names rhyme, Vimbai and Rufaya. Good morning to you both. Good morning to all our viewers. Beginning with oil. Oil prices are down. Brent at 59.98 was oscillating between 60.59, and West Texas Intermediate is down. Again, it still continues to be supply concerns, a glut in the market. And then with what happens with Venezuela. Speaking of Venezuela, U.S. President Trump saying that, in fact, where's the quote? That, well, he says they're going to take over the sanctioned oil that is currently been, can't go anywhere, it's trapped. So he says that he truthed this on Truth Social. That money, and then, by the way, it's between, 30 to 50 million barrels, estimated to be about 2.9, almost $3 billion worth. So, I mean, not that much money, but still, that money will be controlled by me, para mí in Spanish, if you will, as President of the United States of America, to ensure it is used to the benefit of the people of Venezuela and the United States. So they're going to share $30 billion. Okay, he continues. He says, that's the oil, will be taken by storage ships and brought directly to unloading docks in the United States. I've asked Energy Secretary Chris Wright, who we talked about yesterday. He's going to be meeting oil executives this week in the U.S. to talk about reinvesting in Venezuela. It says to execute this plan immediately. There have been a lot of reactions to this. I think we've got the head of energy, global energy, Center on Global Energy Policy at Columbia University, Jason Bordoff. He says Venezuela has such a Herculean task before it to bring their oil sector back. Having to shut production is going to make that harder. And just to explain what this is, I think we have a visual of so this is the naval blockade that the U.S., I think that's the Iwo Jima, if I remember correctly, that they carried Maduro to after they captured him. By the way, that operation, just for our viewers, between the time that the F-35 jets crossed Venezuela's border and the time they extracted Maduro was 3 minutes. With respect to how this has divided opinion, that was a surgically precision operation there by the U.S. forces. So the point is this: when you produce your oil, you either store it in tanks or you put it out on vessels. And so the vessels that are out there cannot export. They go to your China, your Russia, and so on and so forth. So the oil, I think that's what's prompted this move from Trump. But he wants to, make it look, like the U.S. is in control. So basically, that quote you just saw from Mr. Boroff is saying that Venezuela cannot get its oil, and if you can't get any more oil out, you're going to impact production because you can't produce more because you don't have anywhere to put the oil. The ships are being blocked by the United States. So we understand there's like flotillas already on their way through the Caribbean to come and take that oil from Venezuela. That's what Trump is saying. So I think this is an issue of not stopping the little production that's going on. Again, Venezuela averaged about 1 million barrels per day, if that. I think November was about 800,000. And so it's pretty small as it is. And so you don't want to already shut down an oil industry that's already crippled. So that's what we're seeing there. Asian markets, the 4-day bull run has come to an end. Markets were pretty mixed this morning. So Shanghai Composite Index in mainland China, that was up. Your Hang Seng pronounced drop there of over 1% in Hong Kong. The Nikkei down as well. Kospi though was up. We brought back the Indian markets. So the Indian markets were down in trading, and then all share the ASX 200 in Australia, that's also on the up and up. So a mixed bag of trading over in Asia. Some highlights from the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. This is a 3D screen from Samsung. You can see a lady there showing off a bag. Basically, we showed you a television that looked like a piece of art from Amazon, but this is apparently, that supposedly has more visual depth to make the images that are on there more realistic. Not sure when this will actually go on sale from Samsung. What else did we have from day one? Okay, this is from Ray Razer, they make games. They actually have a full hologram AI assistant that basically just talks to you through the day. This one is helping this guy pick out his type of clothes. She changed her jacket to tell him to wear this same jacket. In fact, I think we play the clip. Let's play the clip. Play the clip of this Razer AI companion called Ava.
Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. Morning, Joey. You were snoring again. Definitely wear your favorite green jacket. Look, now we're really vibing. Have a good day.
Hey, cutie.
Hi, Amanda. Great brainstorming last night.
Actually, I need more.
What if we flip the design here? Do you think it can work?
Nice. I think you're onto something.
All right. And then, was there anyone else to Nigeria now. The Electricity Regulatory Commission, this is actually in today's This Day newspaper, Nigeria's newspaper of record, so do be sure to read this article, pretty insightful. As far as the performance of the electricity sector for Q3 of 2024, so this is for, well over a year ago. Subsidies are still being paid. I mean, you can annualize that to what, about 1.6 trillion if you annualize. But again, this is third quarter, so we already have 3 quarters ahead of this. So I have to wait for the last one. Disco revenue, they got about 570 billion out of a possible billion of 786. So that's about 80% collection or so, losses to the tune of about 146.9 billion. So, meter shortages, infrastructure issues, we're still trying to get that going with respect to our electricity industry. And then finally, the markets in Nigeria continue to, in fact, I should have talked about the markets in South Africa. South Africa's Johannesburg Stock Exchange also doing, emerging markets had a very good 2025, and it looks like it's continuing in 2026, at least early days. But 45 basis point climb, the all-share index now is flirting with 160,000 points. We're over 100 trillion in terms of market cap. It was Presco, Dangote Cement, Stanbic. Those are kind of the stocks that the markets were picking up on. That's our updates for today.
Okay, I mean, what else can we say to the king of the world, Donald J. Trump? I mean,
I'll never forget your question at the IMF World Fair of Washington when you asked about how one man, or what the IMF can do about the fact that one man feels he's an emperor. Don't you remember that question?
Yeah, I remember, and Roses, that's a sad reality in the world. So, secondly, all his bullish sentiment. So as of today, Roses, he has not even spoken to the leaders of the oil companies. And you're thinking that they're going to bring their money into this mess that is going on in Venezuela? Secondly, does he know how much it's going to cost the Navy to continue this blockade? Because the reason why they can seal off Venezuelan borders, because you have 20% of the American Navy on that Venezuela water, with the HMS, with the USS Iwo Jima over there. Do you know the personnel costs you're spending to be able to keep this thing you have?
Good point, yeah.
Thirdly, Rotus, and the very important point we should all look at is this. You want companies to stake all they've got on a long-term plan. Even in the next 5 to 6 years, you can't get 2 million barrels per day.
Even 10.
Even 10 years.
10 is a long time, yeah.
So it's a very long time thing, and he's doing all of this, and everybody's just looking at this man. And the fact that if he loses at the midterm, Congress can even impeach him because of all he's doing.
Yeah.
So who is going to invest in uncertainty?
Well, these are the questions. Who's going to invest in uncertainty? But I want to focus a little bit on Nigeria and the electricity tariff, because as much as you took that story, I think Punch also had a front page, and theirs was a little bit more, it was a little bit bolder, because they said it's 2 trillion naira that has been spent from a period of, I believe, December 2023 to September 2024 or so. And in essence, we continue to have this conversation day in and day out. I already know your position on cost-reflective tariffs and so forth, but it highlights the fact that we're lacking a social policy. Now, in Nigeria, we have several individual policies. You have one for education, you have one for health, you have, they sort of operate in silos, but there's no cohesive social policy. And this is part of the reason why, now that we're going into this new tax regime, there's a lot of kickback because people don't have faith in the redistributive effects running in this economy. So the subsidy, again, if we're able to position this money, if you do all the research, conduct the necessary surveys and say, this is the money that we're currently spending on subsidy, and find a way to put that money back into people's pockets to enhance their productivity so that if it's cost-reflective tariffs, we don't feel it as badly because we're able to earn enough to meet whatever costs we bear. But I think the major point for me is the fact that Nigeria needs a cohesive social policy that can take away from all this subsidy that doesn't work but still cushions the pockets of individuals in some form or way.
Fair point.
Okay. Finally, still on Trump and Venezuela and energy stocks. Now, immediately after that attack, invasion of Venezuela, energy stocks went up.
Yep.
Particularly for Chevron, which share price went up to about 10.1%. Before settling on Monday at about 5.1%. And it was the same for ExxonMobil and other companies. Also, services, companies providing services for the oil companies, they also went up in the expectation that, U.S. would tap more oil from Venezuela. However, when the reality sunk in, there have been concerns this year now about the mismatch between demand and supply. So the experts, what they have been saying is that, look, investors, should be careful because, it's a very uncertain environment. They even advise that those who are investing should beware of energy stocks because you don't know what will come.
They even fell
after.
yesterday.
Three, the fall is also because of that uncertainty. Now, in the U.S., pump price of gasoline, as they call it, has also been going down.
That's right.
Because of the fear that in the long run, there will be a glut in the market. So it's a long run, in terms of development in that particular market with regard to energy stocks. If you have investment in energy stocks, the experts are saying, well, beware.
Indeed.
Maybe go to AI, which is driving, growth and uncertainty in Wall Street with Amazon, Palantir, and all those AI stocks, AI-related stocks doing very well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.